There was a time when the sky spoke in ways we could understand, when every sunrise was a promise, and every falling star carried a message. The elders of the Blackfoot Nation remembered those days. They said the heavens were not silent. They were alive, breathing, warning, watching. One of their oldest prophecies spoke of a star that would fall twice. The first, they said, would come as a warning, a cry across the sky, a spark tearing the heavens open, reminding mankind that we had forgotten how to listen. The second, they said, would come as the ending of an age, the day when the sky itself would burn, and the wind would rise in fury to cleanse what had been defiled. And so the prophecy was kept, passed down like a sacred ember from voice to voice, from campfire to campfire, across the windswept plains of what we now call Montana and Alberta. They called it the star that falls twice. The old stories tell that the first fall would come when mankind had lost its reverence for the sky, when we no longer looked upward with awe, but with conquest in our eyes. They said people would cut into the mountains, pull fire from the earth, and scatter their poisons across the rivers. The sacred buffalo would vanish. The balance between man and the world would be broken. And when the cries of the earth reached the sky, a light would descend, a star breaking free from its path, falling not as beauty, but as a warning. The people would see it and fear for a moment, but the fear would fade, and they would return to their machines, their wars, their noise. The elders said that would be the mistake, because the second star would not be a warning, it would be a cleansing. They said it would fall when the world had grown weary of its own shadow, when even the seasons would forget their place. Summer in winter, frost in the time of fruit. The moon would bleed, the sun would dim, and in the night sky, a fiery wound would open once again, a star tearing down through the heavens, like a blade through the veil of time. The sky would roar, the air itself would tremble, and from that burning scar, a wind would rise, a wind no man could escape. It would sweep across the plains, across the forests, across the oceans, not to destroy, but to purify. The wind would strip away the lies, the pride, the illusions of control, and when the dust settled, a new dawn would rise, one that few would see, but all would feel. One Blackfoot storyteller once said, "The star will not fall from the heavens because it hates us. It will fall because the earth has asked for help." That line has haunted generations. Because what if the earth does cry out? What if her voice reaches the stars? What if the sky answers not with rain or blessing, but with fire? The elders saw it not as punishment, but as purification. They said, "The world will not end. It will shed its skin. Just as a snake must shed its old scales to live, so too must the earth rid itself of the corruption that clings to her." In Blackfoot tradition, the star is sacred, not merely a distant sun, but a living spirit, a messenger of cycles and endings. They believed that stars could fall to mark the close of one age and the birth of another. When the first star fell, it was to awaken mankind. When the second falls, it will awaken the earth. There is a strange resonance between this prophecy and what the world now witnesses. Astronomers speak of comets wandering too close, asteroids tracing paths that graze our skies. Meteor showers have grown brighter, their timing more unpredictable. In 2023 and 2024, fireballs were recorded blazing across the skies of North America, and many wondered if these were the first whispers of the old prophecy. But what truly matters is not the falling star itself. It is what it reveals. The elders said that when the second star falls, the people will be divided in two. Some will hide, thinking only of survival. Others will fall to their knees, remembering prayers they had long forgotten, and the wind that follows, that mighty cleansing wind, will not only sweep the earth, but also the heart, because the true cleansing is not of the land, but of the spirit. When the wind comes, those whose hearts are heavy with greed will feel it as fire. Those whose hearts are humble will feel it as breath, the breath of renewal, of rebirth. The Blackfoot elders told the story using fire and sky as mirrors. They said, "What happens above will happen below. If the stars begin to fall, so will the mighty. If the heavens burn, so will the empires. If the sky sends wind, then truth will scatter like dust, and only what is pure will remain." Some versions of the prophecy tell of a sacred mountain that will sing before the star falls a second time. That song, they said, will come as trembling, a deep vibration in the bones of the earth, an earthquake, perhaps, or the hum of the land awakening. And then, a night when the stars burn brighter than ever before, and one tears loose from the sky, falling westward, trailing a tail of fire and light. The wind that follows will circle the globe, bending trees like grass, turning rivers to foam. And after it passes, a silence deeper than memory. Then, a new morning. Those who survive, the elders said, will not rebuild the world as it was. They will live closer to the earth again. They will speak to her as to a mother. They will remember that the sky is not empty, but alive. Children will ask about the old world, and their elders will say, "There was a time when man tried to own everything. Now we live to belong." This prophecy, like many of the first people's visions, is not about fear. It is about restoration. The cleansing wind is mercy, not wrath. The falling star is awakening, not destruction. Yet it comes with a question that pierces deeper than any warning. How long will humanity ignore the sky? How long before we see the signs not as superstition, but as messages written in flame and thunder? Because the prophecy does not say when the star will fall. It only says why. And the why depends on us. Some say the first fall has already happened, perhaps in the great comet that once blazed over North America, perhaps in the countless satellites and fragments now littering the sky, our artificial stars, our false suns. Maybe the first fall was our own doing, a warning born of our arrogance. And maybe the second will not be far behind. But the Blackfoot elders also said something else, something easily forgotten amid the fire and fear. They said, "The star that falls twice carries the seed of the new world in its ashes." That is the promise, that after the cleansing, after the winds, after the silence, life will return. Wilder, freer, truer. The buffalo will thunder once again. The rivers will sing. The people will remember. There is a deep humility in this vision. It reminds us that destruction and creation are twins. One must end for the other to begin. The prophecy is not meant to frighten us into despair, but to awaken us into reverence, to look upon the sky again with sacred eyes, to walk upon the earth as if she feels our every step, to live knowing that every breath is borrowed from the wind that will one day cleanse us all. If the star falls tomorrow, what will it find us doing? Will it find us divided, fighting, drowning in noise? Or will it find a few hearts still awake? Those who remembered the old songs, those who still listen to the wind? The elders said the sky chooses its witnesses. Those who are humble will see the fire not as terror, but as truth. They will understand that the world is not ending. It is being renewed. And so, the story of the star that falls twice remains, a warning, a promise, and a prayer, a reminder that the heavens are not far away, that every falling light in the night sky may be whispering, "Prepare, cleanse, Remember, the sky is watching, the earth is breathing, and the wind, the sacred wind, is waiting. If this prophecy spoke to your spirit, if you felt the wind of truth move through these words, then remember the old ones never told stories to entertain. They told them to awaken. The prophecy of the falling star is not just about the sky. It's about the soul. Each of us carries a light, and when we forget our purpose, that light begins to fall. But even in the ashes, there is renewal. Even in the storm, there is a whisper calling us back to balance. So take this message not as a warning of fear, but as a call to rise to remember who we are. The earth still listens. The ancestors still wait. The story is not over. It has only begun. If these words touched you, like, share, and subscribe. Not for numbers, but to keep the fire of truth alive. Let the message travel, like the wind across the plains, and may it awaken those who still sleep beneath the falling star.